Hashem's Vasaitivzach L'Fiagita Sacha. We're now in the 20th Perek of Shoftim. This Perek is going to highlight, again, one of the lowest points in Jewish history. We have a civil war. We have a Shevet of Binyamin who has been really excommunicated by the nation. They are now going to be at war with all the rest of Bnei Israel. And what we said was Binyamin is the beloved Shevet. It is a Shevet that was protected. It was protected by Yehuda. It's been protected by Yosef. It is Rachel's, it's the youngest, it's the baby, it's the one that of course you're going to love the most. And yet, when it comes to the upheaval that has been created by the Bnei Israel because of lawlessness, because there's no good melech to rule, and people have reached their rock bottom, what we have now is going to be civil war, which is going to lead to so much death. We are going to have the casualties of Jew against Jew. And what's interesting is that the Perek starts, and all throughout the Perek, there's this other metaphor that seeps in, which is the Izas ki ish echad. They're like one people. Wow, that's amazing. Ish echad b'levacha, like we had at Har Sinai. But what we had at Har Sinai was we gave to Hashem, we said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will listen and do exactly what you said. Now, we're being ki ish echad, but without the Na'aseh v'nishma. What happens when you get everybody united under one idea, one negative, really bad idea? And so what we have is that the Jews, this misguided way, ki ish echad, are all together from Dan to Beersheba. Yeah, right? And so what ultimately happens is they come before Hashem, right, in Mitzvah, and there are 400,000 fighters that have all gathered together, that are all going to go against Binyamin. And when Binyamin hears that, they say, what happened? Tell us what happened. Like, Eicha nahaisa hara hazos. The word Eicha reminds us that bad things are about to happen. We know from Tisha B'Av, from the Megillah, whenever it says Eicha, it's ominous. There's something bad that's about to happen. And the Ish Levi explains himself. He doesn't have a name, because ultimately his story is a very, very difficult one. We know. But who were the Levium? The Levium were the teachers. This is a teacher. This is a misguided teacher. This teacher, we know exactly what his story is. He's the teacher. He's the Levi. He's the one who's going to represent and lead the people into something. So he says, yes, Ani upilag shilalun, Bati ani upilag shilalun. Me and my concubine, we came to spend the night. And the people of Givat, they wanted to harm me. They gathered against me, against the house at night. They tried to kill me, and they took my pilegesh. They abused her until she died. So that isn't exactly, they wanted to abuse him. They didn't actually want to kill him. That's not exactly, but you hear and you see what reigns supreme in what he's saying and his perspective on it. And they grabbed her, and so what did I took her, and then I cut her into pieces, and I sent them to every part of Bnei Israel. And so I wanted that is ki asu zima unvela b'Yisrael. There is outrageous depravity that is happening, and they should all take a look and see it. Now, if they do take a look and they see it, what should they come to? Except for, oh my goodness, look how far we've fallen. We need to do tshuva. If you're taking a body and you're cutting it up, which we've mentioned, it's not 100% if that's even allowed. And it's interesting, Rabbi Rausner mentions that Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, when he was asked about, if it's possible to take from autopsied or bodies in order to, prove a point that will help out for Klal Yisrael, there are shilas about what you do with a dead body. And here I took it, it was such a horrible thing that I took the body, I cut it up into pieces. I thought it was, that was the right thing to do. And now everyone is going to rise up to get rid of this horribleness that happened, as opposed to look inside ourselves. What are we doing? How far we've fallen? And And Vayakam Kol Ha'am, the whole nation, Ki ish echad, again, like one. Lo ne'elech ish lo, we're not going to go back to our homes. But lo nasor ish lebeito, and we're not going to go back into our houses. We are going to fight. Wait a minute. Ish lo, what should you be doing? You have to look inside, like your ohel, your home. Look inside of yourselves. They're not doing that. They're not going back to their bias, back to their source of everything good to see where things went wrong, where how we can get to this, how people, how society, how we've all fallen. No. And instead, they're going to wage war. And so that's what they did. They took from from all of the Bnei Israel, and they ultimately have 400,000, and it is a lot of people. And they are all united. Ki ish echad chaverim kol Yisrael v'nomar amin. It's such an interesting way that they are twisting all of what is good, and they're missing the greater points. But Hashem always looks when we are united, even when we're united for something that's negative. Hashem, he gets nachas in Shamayim because his kids are united together. But here they're united together against one of their kids. In any event, what happens is Binyamin says, like, okay, so we hear you. And then they say to Binyamin, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to come and give us back the people that did all the bad stuff, Binyamin. It's not all of you, it's some of you. We're giving you a way out, a way to save face. But Binyamin, they're not going to do that. They refuse to give and to listen. L'shma b'kol achechem b'nei Yisrael. They are not listening to them. They are not yielding to the demands of their brothers. And we're about to have a civil war. So Binyamin has 26,000 fighters and 700 elite troops. The best of the troops, they are left-handed. Iter yad yamino. Remember, we had that is highlighting a high skill set, and they're left-handed. Again, not in the norm. Everything is twisted. It seems like v'nahafochu. Everything's on its opposite form. And they are able to sling a stone very well. And that is, reminiscent of what we are going to know about David HaMelech. And he is, the small guy compared to Goliath, which is the big guy. So we have a reminiscent of Ehud. We have something that reminds us of David HaMelech, and Binyamin has that's on their side, and on the other side is 400,000 fighters. Some of them are the elite of the elite, but everyone is in Ish Malchama, and doesn't seem like a very fair fight. But who's ultimately going to win or lose? We're all losing. And the Bnei Israel, they go to Beitel and they ask Hashem. Now, on the one hand, that's great. Yeah, great, they're asking Hashem, but they don't ask Hashem the right thing. They say, so who should go first? Who should go first? That presupposes that you should go out into war. They're not asking Hashem, so tell us, who should go into war? But instead, the Bnei Israel, they get up in the morning and they're ready to fight. Because Hashem says, who's going to fight? Yehuda should go first, so they're going to follow that. They're thinking, oh, we're being so good. You don't ask if you ask the wrong questions, you get the wrong answers. Of course, Yehuda should go first. In every respect, Yehuda is the Melech. They're the tribe that is the leader. But that's only answering the question, the obvious question with an obvious answer. However, that is not a permission question. They didn't ask permission the way that they should have. And what ultimately happens is, interestingly enough, the Bnei Israel, they lose 22,000 people. 22,000 men died by the hands of their brothers. Terrible thing. Day one is not going in the way of Israel. And they go to Hashem and they said, should we join the battle with our people of Binyamin? And Hashem says, yeah, march against them. Okay. Alu alav. So, ha'osef lageshet lamilchama. Should we continue to be fighting in Bnei Binyamin Achi with our brothers Binyamin? and Hashem says, Alu alav. Now, again, is Hashem saying, I love the way you're battling? No, it says, go up against them, Alu alav. But I could also mean Alu as in Aliyah. Be bigger people. What are you doing? Right? You be the ones. You be the role model. Stop this. This is not what is intended. And they don't, obviously, the Urim and Tumim, right? The Urim and Tumim, when they ask Hashem, remember, it just lights up. But ultimately, it's how you interpret the letters. It's how you interpret what is happening. And they're missing the point, because on the next day, what happens is now 18,000 more people of Bnei Yisrael die. And all of them, Sholtei Charev, all of them are excellent fighters. Just imagine the best are mentioned, the high regard soldiers of the Bnei Yisrael have just fallen from the hands of their brothers. 18,000 more die. And then the Bnei Yisrael, they go up back to the basics, and they start to cry, Vayivku, and they cry, Vayeshvu sham lifnei Hashem, and Vayatsumu, and they fast. Now they're getting the message. Now they're learning la'alos shlamim lifnei Hashem, to give karbanos. V'ya'alu. Now they're actually doing what Hashem said to do. They're v'ya'alu olos. Right? He used the same lashon of aliyah. So now they're starting to apologize, and they're fasting, and they're realizing, Hashem, we need you to be involved. Hashem, this isn't good. We need direction. We need purpose. And once again, they ask, what's going on here? And Pinchas, finally, Ben Elazar, Ben Aaron, comes in front of them, and he asks Hashem, are we supposed to fight against the people of Binyamin or not? And this time, Vayomer Hashem, Alu, ki machar etzena biyadacha. Yes, go up, because tomorrow you're going to win. Finally, it's Pinchas who's asking. Finally, they're in the position that they've come to Hashem, having done what they had to in advance, just to get things going in the right direction. What is that? They daven, they cry out, they fast, and they send before them an Ish Elokim who is Ben Elazar Ben Aaron, which is Ohev Shalom and Rodev Shalom. We want to do it right. We don't want to be at war. We're sending in a person whose core is in zealot effort for you, Hashem. It's all for you. It's not for our own egos, our own aggrandizement. We're just doing it for you. And Bnei Yisrael, they set up an ambush against Giva. And now the third, there's a war. First they start off, and there's just 30 people of Bnei Yisrael died. But then the Binyamin people, they thought that, they miscalculated, and Bnei Yisrael ambush, and ultimately 10,000 of the best troops of Bnei Yisrael, they come to Giva, and it's a very, very big battle. And Hashem makes sure that 25,100 of Bnei Yisrael, of the people of Binyamin, die. So 25,100 people of Binyamin die, and the Binyamin people realize, okay, this is a problem, that there was an ambush, and ultimately it's not good. And the images that come are actually very interesting. So there's Ashan min ha'ir, there's a huge column of smoke that is set out from the town, and the Binyamin thought, okay, that this is good, but then there is Amud Ashan, and there is that a column of smoke begins to rise from the city, and they realize their whole town is going up in smoke. Now, when you think about the pillar of smoke, of course, the image that comes to mind is the the Ananeha, the pillar of the clouds that accompanied the Bnei Israel where they went into Mitzrayim, into the Midbar. You also have this idea of at Har Sinai there was smoke, but here. Those images are just suggesting that there's Yad Hashem coming out here. And ultimately, Binyamin, they retreat, and it's not, unfortunately, the people from, well, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, but the people of Israel, they catch up to the people of Binyamin, and 18,000 of people of Binyamin fell. All of them are brave men. Anshe Chayil. Again, we're just killing each other. And then ultimately another 5,000 they get, and then they kill another 2,000, and ultimately 25,000. All of them brave men, all go. So now 25,000 brave men go. There's 600 people that are left. Now that's not actually correct if you do the actual math, but it's possible that that there's a lot of different numbers that are being thrown out here, and basically the Bnei Israel not only take that there's 600 people left, but they burn everything. They burn the entire town. Everything is burned, and it's everyone is killed. The town, the people, the cattle. They set everything on fire, and that's the end of the Perek. So what we have here is a complete devastation. The people of Binyamin are basically done. The Shevet is basically gone. It has 600 people left from a robust, well-loved Shevet, a Shevet that asked for the Beis Hamikdash. It specifically had a piece of the Beis Hamikdash in its portion of land. It is the beloved son, and now we are almost done with one of the Shvatim, and we will see where the Bnei Israel go from here. What we have is Shvichos Damim. Remember, we have the 3 cardinal sins. So we've had the Perek with Girlei Arayos, we have the Perek of Avodah Zarah, and here is a clear Perek of Shvichos Damim. This is the lowest the Bnei Israel could fall, where they're actually killing man to man. And the message is so clear. It's twisted. This is not what Hashem wants. This is not the zealousness that Hashem wants in keeping his Torah, is not in hurting other people. It is the epitome of negativity, that this is what would happen, that you have people coming together and you're using your coming togetherness for bad. You have people who are having so much strength. These are the most powerful of all army people, and they are it's all being used in the negative. Every one of the kochos that are being given, that Hashem has given, is not being used effectively. And we have to think about it. How did it fall? Because we didn't have good leadership, because it's all twisted. When you start to go down the path of just what you want is what matters, and what you want and how you feel is what counts, and nothing l'shem shamayim, then you get to a point where people are just literally doing whatever it is in a misguided way for themselves. And here it's for honor and for glory. Since when did Hashem say, you know what, I'm going to give you so many gifts and I want you to use it for honor and glory? No, it's always l'shem shamayim. And that one moment where the Bnei Israel turn and they say, wait a second, you know what, we really should be davening and crying and fasting. That's the moment of victory. But unfortunately, it's not a victory that is leading to any good results. And now we're left with almost one Shevet, and it's not even the non-Jews or any other force that is getting us, but we ourselves hurt each other. What a very, very sorry state of affairs, and something that we have to learn from and move on from.